Were you aware that Soul Train, the renowned show that shaped a whole generation, was permanently cancelled due to a single memorable scene? Fans were devastated, and this event changed the course of television history. We'll tell you about the infamous performance that led to Soul Train's demise here, along with the chaos that followed behind the scenes. For 35 years, Soul Train was a Saturday morning event that delivered black youth culture to America for an hour. Soul Train, which marketed itself as America's hippest excursion, was the place to go to debut new dance and music styles, as well as fashion trends for hair and clothes. From its beginnings in the 1970s until the 1980s, it was an essential venue for black musicians to promote themselves. By the 1990s, a number of acts had gained national notice as a result. It was a medium through which popular culture taught the masses how to dance, dress, and listen to music. Beneath the enchantment, glittering lights, and captivating music, Soul Train was revolutionary in its depiction of black identity. It was founded in reaction to a racist media, and a racist culture in general during a time of extreme upheaval and suffering, when economic hardship continued despite the civil rights movement's advancements. Soul Train's theme is centered on black empowerment, and is delivered in a cheerful, seemingly casual way. Fan-favorite Soul Train performer Louis Gicar describes how his generation was characterized by the music and dancing. As someone of mixed black and Mexican ancestry, I grew up in the streets of Inglewood, where Saturday mornings meant getting together with my people to celebrate our own dances, periods, and trends. Don Cornelius served as Soul Train's official host and executive producer. The desire to change how African Americans are portrayed in the media, as well as the over-reporting of black crime and the under-reporting of police brutality, both annoyed Cornelius. Cornelius wanted to see good and accurate representations of African Americans in the media, so he was inspired to develop thoughts for his own TV show by the hour-long segment on the ABC network show American Bandstand, that showcased teenagers dancing to the newest music. Every day after school, local teenagers lined up outside the network facility, while Cornelius looked for potential talent, desiring to spin around on the screen. In addition to addressing the stark underrepresentation, Black Chicago was given access to an event that sought to promote the range of black talent. You're right on schedule for a beautiful Soul Train ride. Welcome aboard. In 1971, the program had its national premiere with a bold and vibrant new set that complemented the new setting and the theme. Soon the invitation to join Soul Train came from the musicians, not the other way around. Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder, who even improvised a new song for the event, were among the well-known performers in their heyday. The regular appearances of the Jackson 5 increased the show's star power. In the early days of taping, artists would lip-sync their songs. However, Don Cornelius realized that the show's light live performances were what made it so engaging and enjoyable. Consequently, amazing things happened, as in the case of Barry White conducting a 40-piece orchestra, or Al Green's amazing performance despite having a damaged arm. In a stunning purple outfit, James Brown even joined the dancers on the floor. Cornelius showed great generosity to non-black musicians in the years that followed, enabling soulful performers like Elton John and David Bowie to take the stage. For many dancers and artists, Soul Train had a significant influence on their life. The renowned dancer Jeffrey Daniel once said, "Soul Train was very intimate for me. More importantly, it captured the essence of the energy of Black America's youth and served as the impetus for my whole career." Cornelius made sure the show gave black performers more confidence both on and off camera. In order to ensure that people of color had access to opportunities, he brought together a group of black professionals from throughout the production. Finding dancers with unique styles at leisure centers around Los Angeles was the responsibility of Pam Brown, who was in charge of hiring performers for the show. What struck and often astounded Cornelius were the bold and creative dance forms that came from California. Almost instantly, he brought together a group of gifted dancers who were renowned for their uniqueness and flair. Although soul dancers had a dazzling appearance, their lives were really difficult. In a single weekend, the dancers taped 2 performances on Saturday and 2 more on Sunday, completing a month's worth of episodes. They had to have a lot of stamina, be highly active, and pack a variety of outfits. They received no compensation unless they sang alongside an act. This flaw seems inappropriate, given the show's declared objective of showcasing black talent. One distinctive feature of the show that people remember is the Soul Train line. In the second season, a new segment was introduced in which dancers would form a channel in the middle of the stage by lining up in 2 rows. They would then pair up to showcase their moves. Every dancer got their opportunity to shine, and the line ended up becoming the showstopper. Instead of competing for camera time during group dances, each dancer on the Soul Train line received individualized attention. Many of the dancers capitalized on the attention by using props, acrobatics, or distinctive style to draw attention, an iconic and beloved aspect of the performance. The Soul Train line evolved from a straightforward dance routine to a standalone cultural phenomenon. The passion, uniqueness, and charm that defined Soul Train's heyday were perfectly captured in it. A lasting legacy of Soul Train is its influence on dance. More than just showcasing the latest styles, the presentation helped to create them. Soul Train pioneered the popping, locking, ticking, and whacking dance styles that would later influence hip-hop, breakdancing, and voguing. Michael Jackson himself learned the now iconic robot routine from the show after learning the backslide, which he renamed the moonwalk, from dancer Jeffrey Daniel. These maneuvers were the beginning of Soul Train and would define entire eras of popular culture. Dancer Jeffrey Daniel of Soul Train thought back on how the program affected his life. It was as though a light bulb went out in my mind when I watched young black people my age dancing and looking stunning on TV. The only times we were on TV before then were when we were in a silly comedy, selling drugs, or being chased by the cops. My life's ambition has been to be a member of that program ever since. Like the dance moves on the show, Soul Train's attire was famous. Easily recognizable, the dancers and performers wore bold patterns, vibrant colors, and avant-garde styles. Black fashion gained popularity in the US because to Soul Train, who introduced designs like medallions, platform shoes, bell-bottoms, and dashikis. Jeffrey Daniels said the show's clothes were informal, colorful, and expressive, making them a great portrayal of the era. In the media before Soul Train, black singers were often vilified or ostracized. The play changed that narrative by showcasing the abilities of young black people and providing a vibrant, affirming image of black Americans. The show's producer and presenter Don Cornelius assembled a cast of black actors and actresses to guarantee that people of color have chances in every aspect of production. Additionally, Soul Train helped Asian artists like Cheryl Song overcome racial obstacles. Though initially skeptics, Cheryl remained a mainstay of the show for 14 years. Her story demonstrated Soul Train's steadfast adherence to its founding mission of honoring diversity and showcasing black genius. Soul Train reflected the triumphs and setbacks of its era, but it did not take a political stance. In America, the 1970s were a turbulent time due to conflicts over school segregation and rising inner-city poverty. Against this backdrop, Soul Train's positive and proud sentiments were a striking contrast. In pieces such as Soul Train's Scramble Board, notable personalities from black history were recognized, including Harriet Tubman and Phyllis Wheatley. Black people's haircare company Afro Sheen partnered with the show to promote natural black beauty. Soul Train promoted natural hairstyles and used Afro Sheen in their broadcast ads, which helped to propagate the idea that black people are attractive. We've arrived at the moment when Soul Train's amazing performances will excite everyone. The best place to start is, of course, at the beginning. Featured guests for the first show, which aired nationwide on October 2, 1971, were Gladys Knight and the Piplets. The band's performance became legendary thanks in part to Don Cornelius's ebullient introduction and the music itself. He characterized the quartet as a powerful mountain of spirit for beautiful people in his typically ebullient baritone voice. That event created the foundation for the amazing legacy that Soul Train would leave behind. One of the most memorable performances in Soul Train's history was the 1973 rendition of Dancing Machine by a youthful Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. The already iconic song was further boosted to superstar status by their performance on Soul Train, which peaked at number 2 on the mainstream charts and at the top of the R&B charts. It was during this performance that Michael introduced the now famous robot dance. An eye-opening event that cemented the robot dance's place in mainstream culture was watching the king of pop do it with skill. Despite the fact that many people have attempted the feat previously, this performance accurately demonstrates how to execute it. Amazingly accurate, fascinating, and awesome. In December 1975, the legendary trio LaBelle brought a whole new level of excitement to Soul Train with their performance of Lady Marmalade. It made a statement in addition to being music. The crowd was shocked by Sarah Dash, Nona Hendrix, and Patti LaBelle's metallic futuristic costumes, which nearly invented Afrofuturism on the Soul Train stage. Their bold strategy and catchy funk-filled hit song will change the course of both the event and music history. That type of convergence of art, music and fashion was only possible for Soul Train. The 1974 performance by Al Green was one such memorable occasion. Unlike the typical lip-sync singers on the show, 27-year-old musician Al Green wowed the crowd with his innate skill and charisma while performing live. Wearing neon platform heels and a long-stemmed rose in one hand, Green's charm and spiritual vibrancy were contagious as she performed. He captivated the crowd with what can only be described as holy sex appeal for 7 minutes. Such a performance led to Soul Train being categorized as an experience rather than a music presentation. One of Soul Train's other revolutionary actions was its unprecedented invitation to white performers to perform. The performance by David Bowie on November 4, 1975 was one example. Regretfully, Bowie was overcome by his nervousness. He hadn't memorized the lyrics, thus his performances were so shaky that they needed to be redone several times. Bowie's involvement symbolized the show's growing influence and willingness to question social conventions despite its difficult beginnings. In an alleged candid conversation with Bowie off-stage, Don Cornelius warned him that Soul Train will not stand for mediocrity. Like everything good, Soul Train had its end. Many of its admirers were upset by its final farewell, whereas others wonder why it was stopped. Soul Train's foray into the 1980s and beyond marked a turning point in the music business. As hip-hop swiftly gained popularity, it brought with it performances that the show's more conservative audience found disturbing. A well-known example of this was the Milli Vanilli concert in 1989. Thanks to Don Cornelius, they became the first major European rap stars. However, it was discovered some months later that the two had not really played any original music. They feigned lip sync. Due of this dispute, Soul Train's reputation suffered. David Bowie gave another controversial performance in 1975. Nervous and inebriated, the eccentric, boundary-pushing London singer stammered through his songs and needed many tries to complete his show. Behind the scenes, Bowie reportedly annoyed perfectionist Don Cornelius. These episodes began to erode Soul Train's carefully constructed reputation. There were issues with the show even behind the scenes. Tensions between producers and dancers were increasing as a result of numerous dancers feeling their effort was underappreciated. Even though they created iconic moves and set trends, many Soul Train dancers received inadequate compensation. Consequently, tensions increased and some important cast members departed. The shift in the music business also made it difficult for Soul Train to draw A-list singers. As competing networks like MTV and BT gained popularity, many musicians chose to appear on these more modern channels that catered to the expanding hip-hop audience. A big barrier was Soul Train's inability to change with the times. The mid-1980s saw a radical shift in popular culture, music and fashion. Despite being groundbreaking in the 1970s, Soul Train had become bland by the 1980s. Younger viewers were more drawn to shows that included a more modern interpretation of hip-hop and urban culture. Longtime Soul Train creative director Don Cornelius found it difficult to connect with the new musical fad. Because he didn't understand hip-hop, he famously refused to include it in the curriculum. Due to this gap, Soul Train felt cut off from its previous fan base. The accumulation of these issues caused viewers to lose interest. Longtime followers of Soul Train remembered, but they stopped being regular watchers. Younger audiences were being attracted to shows that seemed more like their own lives. For many, Soul Train had become a Saturday morning ritual, but the magic was fading. Don Cornelius resigned as host in 1993 after a difficult decision. It was an appropriate farewell with his final album Love, Peace and Soul. Cornelius is no longer only a host, his function has been extended. In short, he was the lifeblood of the program. There was a void left by his departure that no one could fill. Without him, Soul Train simply wasn't the same, even if his successors tried their hardest. More fundamentally, Cornelius's departure highlighted an issue. He envisioned Soul Train. During his absence, the show struggled to find story elements. The initial excitement for the show began to wane as the crew faced more and more challenges behind the scenes. Midway through the 2000s, it became clear that Soul Train couldn't compete. With its final broadcast in February 2006, the television program came to a peaceful conclusion after 35 years. Many admirers wondered about the death of an iconic phenomenon after the heartbreaking loss. Millions of people watched Soul Train from its debut in 1970 until its end in February 2006. Its legacy remains unmatched, even in modern times. It is widely believed that no other show has ever been able to equal Soul Train's cultural effect. Fans still talk about Soul Train with a lot of love and good recollections. One online admirer stated that it was a way of life rather than just a spectacle. In the words of another, Soul Train made me feel proud to be a citizen. We had the opportunity to truly shine there, and everyone loved our music and skills. These heartfelt comments highlight the show's enormous influence. One of Soul Train's distinctive selling points was the togetherness it promoted. Superstars like Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, and Stevie Wonder weren't the only ones that performed. The major focus was on the program's energy and the joy it brought to each viewer. Because of the presentation, everyone felt like they were a part of something significant and enormous. With the Soul Train series, a symbol of this camaraderie was created, a welcoming dance floor where people of all identities and backgrounds may let free and perform their finest skills. No other program has been able to equal Soul Train's level of success since it ceased. It was not simply about performances and dancing, the themes were joy, pride, and unity. It offered a stage for the recognition and appreciation of Black dancers and artists in a time when such venues were rare. According to one die-hard fan, there will never be a Soul Train 2.0. It is unlike any spectacle that has ever been seen. The loss of Soul Train was a huge blow to the music and television industries. The magic has been attempted to be replicated in later, more recent performances, but all have failed. The presentation's genuine excitement, Don Cornelius's captivating personality, and the innovative acting are invaluable. All facets of popular culture are impacted by Soul Train, from the newest dancing movements on TikTok to today's music videos. Its influence on Black culture worldwide, the stars it generated, and the trends it sparked are all evidence of the show's lasting power. Soul Train will live on in the memories of those fortunate enough to have experienced it. Nostalgia for the show, the performers, and that era will never completely go away. One admirer claimed that Soul Train was a blessing to society, and that its influence would never fade. No other show was ever the same, so viewers will always remember how special the show was.